The very talented offerings of the editorial cartoonist Andy Donato, most often, or most recently, obviously, in the Toronto Sun, prior to that in the Toronto Telegram. He, in addition to being a great cartoonist, he is also a very, very fine artist, some beautiful work I've seen. He traces stuff like you've never...
How'd you know that?
Yeah, well, there you go. No, beautiful art, I mean that. And his latest exhibit is on right now at the Columbus Center till November 2nd. It's called From Toronto to Tuscany, From Tybee to Twillingate. Toronto, I know where that is. Tuscany is in Italy. You're from Italy. Tybee is in Georgia, where you dwell in the winter, and Twillingate is in Newfoundland. What does Twillingate have to do with anything?
Oh, the show is paintings from all four of those places.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I mean, I've done a lot of Toronto paintings, which I like doing street scenes and that type of thing. And then a few years ago, we spent some time in Tuscany. I did a lot of painting there. Then when I go to Tybee, I do a lot of painting in Tybee. Savannah, Georgia is a beautiful city, and there's the salt marshes and the beaches and stuff. And then I took a trip to Newfoundland last June, not this past June, the one before that. And it was great. And what a great province.
And I guess it's like an apples and oranges thing. What if I ask you, do you prefer cartooning or do you prefer painting?
It is, yeah. Well, the thing about cartooning is that I can get an idea, draw it, and it's in the paper the next day, and thousands are looking at it. With painting, you know, I work on a painting for about maybe 2 days a week, depending, and then I wait 8 years to show it.
Yeah, right.
Only a few people see it.
How many cartoons do you do a week now for the Sun?
I do 5 a week right now, and when I go south to Savannah for January, February, March, I do 1 a week, Sunday only. That's my deal. They feel that when I'm out of town, I'm out of touch with things that are going on, so I just do 1 a week. And it works out well, and then I come back, I do 5 a week.
But you also, when you go down in the wintertime, I think you did this past year, you do your Blue Jay thing.
I did. I went, yes, they sent me down to
I was enjoying
Dunedin. Yeah, that's fun to do.
Yeah.
And I went down this year again and did a spread on the Blue Jays. And we ran them, I think we ran them several, over a period of a week or two. Yeah. It's fun.
There's a quote here. I'm not sure if this is your quote, but it's very funny. A cartoonist is like a blind javelin thrower at the Olympics. He's not too accurate, but he sure gets the attention of the spectators.
He doesn't win too many medals, but he sure gets the crowd's attention.
Is that your quote?
Yeah. It's a friend of mine named Dick Loker.
Yeah.
Who he's the guy well, he's not drawing Dick Tracy anymore. He used to draw the comic strip Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
And he used to always say that. And a friend of mine, Frank McGee, used to always say that a cartoonist is a guy who comes down out of the hills after the battle and shoots the wounded.
I'm sure that there have been many politicians over the years who have accused you of such. What happens when you take a slam at a politician, or in some cases continuously ride the same politician, and then you meet them for the first time? How awkward is that?
Well, it's not that bad. The only guy... politician I've really had a little trouble with, I guess, was David Miller. He didn't like me at all, and I guess he was kind of thin-skinned. But at my art show, Bill Davis, whom I drew hundreds of cartoons on Bill Davis when he was in power, he came to my art show. I mean, he's 83 years old, and he was there, and he's just as sharp as ever. Yeah. It was great seeing him. And but a lot of them, I still get along. I still see Mike Harris, as you know. You and I know him. We've seen him a few times. They're all very friendly. I think they all, kind of like it. I even had a call the other day from Giorgio Mammaletti, who I did a cartoon on body rub parlors, and he wanted a copy of it, which kind of shocked me. That's a first.
I was at Mike Harris's once, actually, for a party, which turned into a wedding, and he's got one room that is just loaded with caricatures about dealing with the various aspects of his political career. Yeah, most of which are you.
Probably, I drew him a lot. Yeah. He was a great guy to draw. He was a nice guy too. I really got along with him.
Now, do you when somebody wants a cartoon of yours, do you charge them?
Well, my policy has always been that the first time I draw them and they ask for it, I give it to them free.
Right.
And then I let them know that anything after that they have to pay for them. And Mike Harris's staff, they used to phone up regularly and order them, and I'd send them up, and they'd send me a check, and always always came out of PC funds. Not years ago, I used to get a check from the government for cartoons, and I'd send it right back and say, "Can't take it."
Yeah.
And they'd send me another one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never knew you to be that honest.
I was. It's my money. They're buying me with my own money.
Yeah, I think you told me a story once about meeting Trudeau after you had caricatured him a number of times. I can't remember. Or maybe it was Joe Clark. Somebody's.
No, Joe Clark was great. He had a great
okay?
sense of humor. Yeah, and I gave him his mittens, you know, and
Yeah.
he always thought that was, you know, very funny. And I remember he gave a speech to the Cartoonist group out in Edmonton one year, and he said, "You've no idea what it's like getting up every morning and opening the paper and seeing those goddamn mittens." you know. But Trudeau was the one that called me when he heard my name and shook my hand. He said, "Oh, you're a son of a bitch."
Did he really?
Yeah, he said that. Yeah. Then he looked at Diane, my wife, and he said, "What's a nice girl like you doing hanging around with a guy like him?"
Oh, that's funny. And you were, I recall a couple of years ago, you did this whole. You not only did you infuriate a politician, but an entire city of Hamilton after they re-elected Sheila Copps.
Oh yeah.
And you drew them all as people with bums on their shoulders as opposed to heads. Yes, butt heads. It was very, very funny. But I recall you were on this radio station talking to, I think, the Motts at the time, and they took some calls. They didn't think it was very funny. The Hamiltonians.
No, they were They even tried to get the council to ban all newspaper boxes in the city, the Sun boxes and stuff like that. But they were very upset about it. And I even had the whole city of Sudbury come down on me when the royal couple was doing play them a visit. I think it was Charles and Diana years ago. And I did a cartoon on that, and they were furious about it too. They even invited me up to Sudbury to spend a week up there to tour the city and get to know it, which I would have loved to have done, but I just couldn't do it at the time.
A week?
Or well, that would be like a year, wouldn't it?
Yeah. With all due respect to Sudbury, I used to go to summer camp there. It's quite beautiful. Andy Donato, my guest, we're going to talk about your artwork in addition to, well, that's both of his artwork. One is cartoons and the other is painting. Do you hate when people say legitimate painting versus cartooning?
No, I'm still an artist. An artist is, and I do both.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm different than.
You could scrawl on a bathroom wall. It's still art when you do it.
Or in a cave.
Okay. It's 2:15 at News Talk 1010. Time saver traffic before we check with protest, whatever it is. What is this thing called again? Occupy Toronto.
Occupy Toronto.
Yeah, I've lost it already. Time saver traffic.
401 westbound from Kill to the Express.